Action! Welcome to Craig and Chris's pool tips video. First thing I'm going to start with is a lovely clean pool. This is Barbara's pool. We've just given it a good filtering and a good brooming, and it's looking beautiful. So my first tip for looking after your pool is it's good practice to give it a bit of a sweep out every few days or once a week, depending on the dust and leaves and things blowing around. Stir the stuff up so that it's getting into your filtration box and filtered by your sock and your filter box filter, and keeps everything moving and ticking over. Keep an eye on your filter sock and make sure that when it's looking a bit full that you change it. So coming back here, this is Barbara's pool. Looking very clean, I must say. It's a lovely pool. We're going to have a look at the filtration system. Oh, by the way, say hello to our camera woman, Chris.
No, it's not happening today.
Turn the camera around so we can see you, Chris.
Not to worry today.
So this is Barbara's pool shed with her new sand filter and chlorinating system. A nice modern Zodiac crossover. So the first thing we're going to look at is the Zodiac chlorinator on the wall. I'm just going to get in here and point out a few things to you. So at the moment it's off. Now Barbara has some extra technology here that's integrating her solar system with the pool filtration timing and that sort of thing. I don't know much about that, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but at the moment I'm just going to look at the Zodiac. And I've done some I've done some programming. So at the moment the Zodiac will come on for about 8 hours a day from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The advice that I had when I first started with our pool was run your filtration for about 8 hours in the summertime and about 4 hours in the winter time. And you have some settings on your chlorinator that control how much chlorine it's producing. So I did note that when we first looked at Barbara's pool, the chlorinator was set to about 10%, which is, I believe, okay for if you're just doing spa and that sort of thing, but if you're trying to chlorinate a pool, then you need it a lot higher than that. So I would suggest, and this is just from my experience, and I'm trying to adapt my knowledge of my chlorinator to Barbara's, but I run my chlorinator on about 80% of its capacity during the summertime for 8 hours, and then in winter time I'd drop that down to about 60% of its capacity for 4 hours a day. But really you need to do some pool strip tests, make sure you're getting the right result, maybe take some water samples to your pool shop and get them to check it. But it's something that over time you'll build up a knowledge about your own pool. They're all a little bit different depending on how much shade or sun exposure they've got will control how much chlorine loss and that sort of thing you get. So it's always worth initially doing quite a few pool strip tests, working out where your pool is and the best settings you need to use to keep that chlorine balanced correctly. So I'm going to go into the Zodiac now and show a couple of settings. So if you can see this screen here, I'm just going to go into the menu, and there's clock and timer settings. So in the timers I've set timer 1 up, so you can set some multiple timers up, but just for the time being I'm going to go into timer 1, and I've set it to start at 9 AM in the morning, and it'll go off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 1700. So back to the menu. At the moment it's off. In 5 minutes time it should come on automatically, but again Barbara's got some other controls that do impact, or you can control when the filtering comes on and off, and I'm not going to go into that. But what's more important is the amount of filter time you're giving the pool and the amount of chlorine that you're producing while you do that. So at the moment I'm just going to focus on the Zodiac controller itself. So I'm just going to turn it on now, so we'll hear the pump turn on. And you can see that I've set the output at 80%. That output's controllable by up and downing the arrow. So I've set it at 80% for the time being. When we first looked at Barbara's pool, that was set at 10%, which is definitely nowhere near enough chlorine production to control algae and that sort of thing. And when we first looked at Barbara's pool, it had a fairly bad algae problem. So we've now run the filter for 24 hours at 100% to get those chlorine levels up. And this chlorinator also has a boost function, which gives you boosted chlorine production over a 24-hour period. So we actually ran it in the boost mode as well. So you can see now that the chlorinator's working. I'm not sure if you can see in the video, but this cloudiness you can see in here are the tiny bubbles of chlorine that are being produced by the chlorinator, and that's being pumped into the pool through its two inlets. So they're actually little bubbles of chlorine. And you'll notice that that would go up and down as you change the output on the chlorinator itself. Now everything looks to be working fine there. I'm going to turn the pump off again and just quickly run through how to do a backwash. A backwash is another important thing you need to do with your pool. And again, you need to learn your own pool. It's dependent on how much wind and dust you're getting and how much fine dirt you think you're getting through your pool filtration into the sand filter filtration. If you've got good pool filtration and you're looking after your sock down the end, you won't have to play with this filter very much at all. You might get the odd leaf or two into that basket there, and you may need to empty that basket from time to time. But if you're managing things well at the skimmer end, then you won't get a lot of dirt and stuff into that. But depending on the quality of your sock up at the skimmer, you will get some fine material end up in your sand filter. So you need to backwash that fine material out. So I'm going to turn the pump off here, and hopefully the timer won't kick in 2 minutes time, and I'm going to explain to you how you do a backwash. So the key thing about this whole process is never turn this valve while the pump's on. It's critical that you never turn that valve, or you can cause damage to the assembly, the valve assembly under here and the rubbers and things. So first thing to do is to turn the pump off. Using your power button there, that's the standard power button symbol that you'll see on all sorts of devices these days. All sorts of devices have that power symbol, so hopefully this filter's not going to come on at 9 o'clock as it's programmed. So your backwash, you've got various settings here. You've got wastewater. Now we put some of the water to waste yesterday as we vacuumed the algae out. You don't want that to go back through your filtration system. You just want to get it out of the system completely. So there's a waste setting there. Whenever you do any sort of waste or backwash, you need to rinse when you're finished. The pool's about to come on because the timer's just kicking in. So I'm just going to let it run up and then I'm going to turn it off again. But whenever you do any backwash or wastewater, you need to go to rinse. And rinse clears all of the stuff out of the assembly and your pipe work before you turn it back on the filter, because you don't want to just push stuff back into the pool that you've just cleaned out and is still trapped in the valve assembly. So I'll just turn the pump off again. And we'll go to the backwash setting. So pump's off, that's critical. You can spin this any way you like, but you just need to push down on the knob and spin it around, keep it pushed down and let it go to the backwash setting. You can see backwash is written there in various languages. And now we turn the pump on. So now I'll turn the pump on again. And what you're looking for here is you have a little viewer glass here. This is showing you the general turbidity or colour of the water, so whether it's nice and clean. At the moment it's looking very clean, and it's probably not going to change much because we've done several backwashes through this cleaning process. But what you'll note is if the pool is a little bit dirty and you've got a bit of sand filter, a bit of dirt build up in the sand filter, this will go cloudy, and you want to keep the backwash running until that cloud disappears and the water in this viewer goes clean again. Again, there's a bit of a compromise, because once you backwash you need to top your pool up again, so you've got a compromise between how much you pay for your water and that sort of thing and how often you backwash. But essentially, if you're not backwashing this frequently enough, it just cycles the fines back into your pool again, and you'll end up with them on the back again, so in the pool again. So I'm going to turn that on now and do a quick backwash. Now normally you do a backwash until this goes clean, but I'm just going to do it for probably 10 seconds so you get the idea, because it's going to be clean already. So pump on. And we wait for the pump to spin up. And we can see some little air bubbles and things bouncing around there. So now we can see water. There's a little bit of drip there that's it's gone now, but essentially you can see that that's reasonably clean. I can now and then see a couple of little bits of grit coming in, and that's fine. It might be hard to see in this video, but there is a little bit of cloud there at the moment. So we'll let that run for a little bit longer. And just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to stop now. But you really need to do it until that's clean, and then you're potentially going to have to top up your pool. And what you're also impacting on is the chemical balance in your pool. So when you add water, you're diluting your chlorination to a degree, you're diluting your salt levels and that sort of thing. So it's an ongoing process where you balance the amount of water you pull out of the pool against your chemical balance and how much water you've got to put back in, etc. I'm going to turn that off now. So now that's off, and now what we want to do is rinse any fines that have been trapped in this head assembly while we've been doing the backwash. So our water was nice and clean. There's a little bit of fine stuff there. That just could be residual from a new sand filter, I'm not sure, but you can see a little bit of fine there. But this process now, we're going to rinse. So again, we push this down. We can turn it any way we like, as long as you push it down. Move it round to rinse, let it go. There's your rinse setting. You'll be able to see that anyway. And we'll turn the pool on and rinse for about 30 seconds is probably enough. So pump on again. And this will rinse out the whole head assembly and your pipe work. And make sure you're not putting stuff back into the pool. So there's a few bits of grit and stuff circulating around in the viewer window. Everything's working fine. I'm just going to cut that short because we don't need to do it because it's already been done. So off again. It's just critical that you don't move this valve unless the pump's off. So I'm going to spin it again to the filter position. So this is your general running position where you're filtering. And I'm going to turn the pump on again. So this will pump now until 5 o'clock this afternoon. I've got the output level set at 80%, which I think is probably about right, but again you need to use your pool testers. So you're probably going to need to test a couple of times a week with your strips, and maybe once every couple of weeks take a test down to the pool shop and confirm that you're getting the same sort of results. What I found too was sometimes you'll go to the pool shop and you get a different result from your pool strip, but that's fine. You just try and work out where the difference is and try and marry that up every time you do a strip test or a pool shop test. Often my strips will show everything's above, but I go to the pool shop and everything's okay. So they're not a perfect method of testing, but they definitely give you an idea of what's going on with your pool. And I guess the thing to highlight is that every pool's a little bit different, and you need to learn what your pool's doing in different weather conditions and different, I guess, temperatures, wind, how much dust, all that sort of stuff. How much water you've got to add back in to top it up. There's all sorts of little differences that you need to work out about your pool. But anyway, I think we'll call that a cut, and we'll try and share this with you, Barbara, on YouTube. And thanks to our camera girl, Chris.
Hello.
And thanks to the pool, and we'll call it a cut.